Hello, and welcome to Opal City Confidential, a Starman podcast, episode 67. We are going to be covering Starman's volume 133 and 34, the Will Payton Starman finish up the seduction of Starman storyline, and have a team up. Imagine that, a team up and a podcast basically about team up. So this one not specifically, but overall, Let's Team Up is all about superhero teams. But Starman is my favorite solo here, so he gets his own show. But we're going to get started on this. It's been a month almost since I've done an Opal City or posted one. I'm getting about one episode out a week, so I may jump in and out. But we got holidays coming up, and maybe I'll get a couple recorded in advance. But just thank you for your patience, and let's get started. Let's go to some data from Mike's Amazing World and from the DC Wiki. Starman 33 was cover dated April 1991. It went on sale February 26, 1991. Editor Katie Main. This story is called Rough Rock Road. It has a Dave Hoover cover with all the people in his lives head. It's a Starman flying out and all the people involved in the story in the background, their faces. I'm really starting to like Dave Hoover's covers. Specifically, I really do like the two covers that for the issues we're talking about today. I've been talking to Kerr. I would rather see a cover that has something to do with the story, and this does, but still be artistic. And this has that. This is that happy medium for me, because a lot of modern comic book covers have nothing to do with what's going on in the book, and that drives me nuts. But I do like a fancy schmancy cover. And if you follow me in the socials, last week I read, or 2 weeks ago I was reading some of Robinson's Scarlet Witch, which I highly recommend. I'm going to finish it up this weekend. But that's all pretty Aja covers, and I'm on board with that. It's the Hawkeye book. On board for it. That's fine. That's me being just, okay, I like Aja, I like those styles. But this one is, I really like these covers a lot. The creative team on this is Len Straszewski, Dave Hoover, Scott Hanna, Tom McCraw. I'm not even getting what to do it. Mr. Len is the writer, Dave Hoover is the penciler, Scott Hanna is the inker, colorist is Tom McCraw, letterers Bob Pinaha, and as I said, editor Katie Main. And this is Rough Road Back. I was just thinking right. The Starman, we get to see Kitty Faulkner and Carol Simon, two of his friends. The villains in this are Reginald Hart of the Hart Foundation, Alyssa DeHaven, and we're fast, and Mr. Arroyo. He's the grandfather of the boy that died the first chapter of this story. So there's no synopsis. I'm not going to read it. Basically, it starts with Starman and Kitty and an associate of Kitty's, Cliff, and they're looking at what's going on, and they're looking underground underneath where that place was. The housing development was being built, and the young boy died. Mr. Arroyo is using magic to to mess with Hart, and Starman's figuring out. And Cliff lets him know, goes, he promised he could build an income house. This is Cliff was saying about him and Will having this conversation. Why was he allowed to build on the site if there's all this natural gas? And there's some. Cliff says, easy. He promised he would build low-income housing somewhere in the city, but he didn't say when it would be part of the city. The land is unincorporated now, Kitty says. No rules, but Hart promised to let the city annex it and some other prime real estate later. It was a great deal all around. Hart gets this is Starman time. Hart gets his tax breaks and makes cash, and this off of unusable land. The city gets a new office tower and some new territory. Damn, I missed it. I missed it all. So he feels he's been hoodwinked, and I like Will Payton for one reason, that he is a good guy. He's a man in his mid-20s searching for something. These powers are thrust upon him, classic comic book hero stuff. And he's trying to live up to the ideal, and especially we're 30-some issues in, and he's meeting Superman. He's doing all these other things. He's becoming a bigger hero. He also wants to become a better man. Like, that's why he had that his little walkabout, everything. It was great. So we move on. That he goes off. He goes to the site. There's that same watchman. He's a drunk. He's offering him a beer. He flies out of there. And as he flies back over the site, the wood frames of houses start dropping in. And these huge tunnels underground. I don't know if the earth is really Swiss cheese like this, that you could just fall in a hole and have this big tunnel you could walk in. 20, 30 feet underground. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not a geologist, but I find it unlikely that there are TOS Star Trek and Next Gen Star Trek sets underneath us, because that's what I think of, the bad tunnels. So he goes underground and he finds it's basically a giant earthworm. Remember, the chief has been making everything big. The entire plot of land just sinks 100 feet. All the tunnels collapse. Starman's being crushed, but he blows a hole, so there's a crater. And he's got another ripped up costume. And then at the bottom of panel 11, is page 11, is the drunk guy's at the highway, and you see where the worm is moving under, and it's lifting at the road, and it knocks him on his ass. Starman flies to see Miss DeHaven. They're kissing, and he's about to tell her his name. And the phone rings, and it's a woman. It's an emergency. He goes, oh, let me take that. He has to fly off. She's laying there, and then Mr. Hart knocks on the door, and they're talking, and she's saying what an idiot this Starman is, and her pheromones and all this. She's eating that hand. And it's just, she's just awful. And then he says something really off, like insults her, and then he changes his face, and it's Will, and he's tricked her, and he knows what's going on. He goes to he flies off, and then in his Will Payton, he's at a big presentation, introduction to new architectural beautiful building that Hart Foundation's opening up, and Will's standing in the crowd, and then the giant worm bursts from under the stage. He fights it. He traces it back underground, and then he starts talking to the press. And then we cut to him being interviewed, and he's talking all about Hart and everything, and he wants to start his own foundation and do real things for the city. And everybody in the city is watching. He goes to see Mr. Arroyo. They say their goodbyes. Mr. Arroyo walking off, saying, soon I will be with my grandson. Will's a little shook up still about that kid. That's the way and he goes, and then the last thing, he goes to Carol, and she's working on a rush job for the mayor's office, Be a Real Hero, and it's got the Starman star on it. Yay. It was a fun issue. The whole seduction of Starman storyline, I'll just give you a quick, as an individual issue, this was fun. It was okay. It was a good comic. Overall, I found the seduction of Starman a little weak. The two bad guys, the Hart, DeHaven, it's a little too simple soap opera bad guy plot. I don't really care about either of those characters. I do care about Mr. Arroyo and losing his grandson and that. And I understand why it's necessary for Will, the character Will Payton, to go on this journey. Or this is, him being, oh, look, they want me to be in front of a charity, finds out the people are dirty, and then he does the right thing. It's, it's basically enough plot for a 45 minutes 1990 cop show, or like Heart to Heart or something like that to me. Nothing fantastic. I think Dave Hoover's art gets better every issue. I think him and Scott Hanna look really good. I'm reading this on the tablet and in the original, so it's as I read newer comics, sometimes when I go back to these, especially in this era, the early 90s, when colors, they're experimenting with new color things. If you ever saw the early Who's in the late 80s. So some of the limited choices in color, and there are a lot, they can do a lot of colors with 4-color, but but it's not like today. I think it looks good, but it's just missing that something extra. That's all. It's just missing. But I do like David. I like his characters. I like his, everybody looks great. Everybody looks special. It's and unique. But this one was just okay. But now we're going to move on to issue 34, which has another. This is a great cover, I think. It's Starman, and behind him in black and white are some menacing people, and then Batman's shadow is in white instead of black. I love it. I freaking love it. It's just a nice, simple cover. I mean, it's not Crisis 7 or anything like that, but I think it's a really good cover, and I am not going to stop singing. His covers are getting better and better. So we're going to go to Starman 34, cover date May 1991, on sale date March 26, 1991. It's called Shadow over Phoenix, where my stepmother lives out there in Scottsdale. Stars Will, again, writer Len Cervinsky. It's the exact same creative team. Len, Dave, Scott, Robert, Tom. Let's get to... Oh, yes, Katie Mann is still the editor. Sorry, I left her out. So this time it's Starman. Batman's a guest star. Glenn Wharton, his friend the cop, who will soon be has a new job. The Shadow King, a new villain, which is kind of cool. It's weird. He's a weird villain. We're going to talk about him. I don't know if he comes back. I don't know if he was planned to come back. I will look before we're done with this. And he's got their drug dealers, Cochise, Melillo, and Paco. Okay, let's just kind of go through the plot. It starts with a Native American is drinking outside a liquor store when he's harassed by a guy in a blue jacket with a big crown on the sleeve. They call him Cochise, which is pretty racist. The gang is 3 white guys and a black guy, and they're about to... And Cochise is part of another gang, so it's rival gang. And they're the Shadow Kings. So we had this little confrontation where they're, you're getting to know who the new bad guys, the Shadow Kings. There's some guys, drug dealers, counting money and have big bags of cocaine. Out of the shadows walk the Shadow King, and they're like, well, how did you get in? It doesn't matter. They take the money and they walk into the shadows and they disappear. And then you see them outside, get in a couple vans. One has a dish, and inside is comic book tech, and there's this African-American gentleman with this silver crown that's got leads tied into the chair. He's strapped into the chair, his head's tilted. You think he looks disabled. But he is the Shadow King. We cut to Starman talking to Glenn about his charity and everything that's going on, and about what they'll need to do, and Glenn's giving him some advice. It's great. And then, there's a gang wars going on, so the Glenn's boss hollers, and they run off to get in their squad car. And when they get there, someone comes running out of the warehouse screaming about the dark men coming out of the shadows. So Starman walks in, and it is dark in there, and he turns the light on, but it's still not really doing much. They shoot at him. They throw a grenade, and he comes back out after they goes, I don't get it. I've never seen anything so dark, shadows so thick. And he doesn't know where it's gone or where they've gone. So he's flying around. He's getting close to the van. Whatever is projecting the dark forces around here somewhere. Maybe if I throw a little light on the subject. And he's right next to the van. And as he's landing on the roof, he gets kicked, and then some karate flips him, and it's Batman. And Dave Hoover does this great Neil Adams Batman pose, or Jim Aparo. Could be either one. It's freaking awesome. His Batman's great. His Batman is just, it's excellent. It looks just like, my childhood those Adams, Aparo, Newton. Oh, gosh, Don Newton Batman. So good. But this is great. It's like, then we get the whole thing is Roscoe Barrow, the Shadow King's gang. He's lost his territory. And he's giving you all the backstory. And then you see the van opening up and all the bad guys coming out. And Batman and Starman take him down. And then the sci-fi van opens up and Shadow King comes out. And he throws something dark at Batman, some dark energy. He keeps showing it to Starman. He traps him in a dark cube, and then Starman uses his light power. It shatters. Batman drops out of it, pulls the headgear off him, and says, "Do you have 911 service in the city?" It's like, I forgot there were times when we didn't have 911. This was that some cities had it, some not. Yeah, you just have to dial O for the operator and be transferred to the police. But he's concerned about the Shadow King because he's passed out, but Shadow King is fine. He can walk, and he gets all nasty and spits at Batman. He starts talking about his new charity program to Batman. Starman does, Will. And Batman, he's like, that's right. It would really help the cause if I got an endorsement from the Batman. It would really mean a lot. Sorry, I'm not a social worker. I found it's best to leave charity to the professionals. And Batman walks off. And when he goes to talk to Glenn, he finds out Glenn has received a large check from the Wayne Foundation to get this new fund going. But you're going to need someone to run it, Starman. And he picks Glenn and he agrees. And the next thing you know, Starman's flying through the sky right next to a plane where Batman is sitting. He's on that airplane. So I like this one. Just because the Batman team up, and that's about it. The gang stuff was okay. It was kind of like you needed a crime, a drug. Why couldn't it just been drug kingpins or something? I don't know. I just find sometimes the need to have that. This one just didn't knock it out of the park. I mean, I like the stuff with Will. I like the stuff with Glenn. Getting the charity. The soap opera part was okay. And the stuff with Batman was good. But I just didn't. The villains are just kind of. There's nothing special about them. But that's it. I like these. I'm enjoying the season. We're going to get closer to finishing this than I thought. And I'm going to be sad when it's gone. I do enjoy Will Payton. He's a great character. This is a good book. I'm getting up to that point in the other Starman to where Jack is going to find out that the woman he's in love with is his predecessor's sister, which is a great turning point in that book. It's just that book is good. But I enjoyed this one. All right. I am so sorry for the sporadicness of Opal City. Hopefully I will get another one. There's a lot of good stuff and stuff I need other people to talk about with coming up. We're going to have an episode about Starboy. More of this. And then there's a couple times past and talking with David and an annual, a very important annual, and a Secret Files. So there's a lot going on. And any suggestions for Opal City Media Club, I'd appreciate it because I'd like to get another one of those out. All right, folks, thank you for listening. Please check out some of these great podcasts. World on Fire. Start at the beginning and follow along as Billy and others talk about the Austral Squadron. Also check out Billy's Magazines and Monsters podcast. Please check out our two podcasts with the amazing Dave and Peter. It's my Thursday morning on the way to work podcast, and it is absolutely amazing. And as always, folks, be smart, be safe, please be kind to one another, and read some comics.